Now, the subject matter of this video is not going to be palatable to a lot of people, but hey, give it a chance because we're actually talking about human beings. We're actually not talking about the occult to an extent. And what we're talking about is the band called Ghost. Now, this band, a Swedish metal band, has made it through the ranks all the way since 2006 is basically when they first started. And a lot of people have caught on to the vibe. Some even going so far as to attribute the rise of Satanism to this band. And it actually is not anything about like that at all. However, they do use that imagery. They do use those kind of lyrics in their songs. There's just a lot of mystery shrouded around it. So we're not going to do a full deep dive into it, but there is something that the creator has said that we're going to have to get into. So first of all, there are two different forms of Satanism. One is basically self-individualistic, and the other actually views Satan as a deity. This is not what they are doing. They are more along the lines of the first one, which is an atheistic property. Tobias Forge, though, the guy who started the band, has some more things to say. So let's go straight into this article, and then we'll have our little aside, and I might pull up a couple more articles in the middle of it, just see how it goes. Because there is a big misconception about Ghost's view on religion. Ghost have pulled from religious themes and creating the lore surrounding the band, because basically this is a very performative band. It's a very performative concept. And frontman Tobias Forge spoke about one particular ideal that is associated with the band that he feels people get wrong a lot of the times. So he sat down with Rolling Stone of UK and said, there's, explained or unrational contact with a void that led him down another path of the unexplained. So basically what we're going at right now is this is his philosophical and possibly religious view of what he's trying to do with this band, what he has done, and why it's been so successful for the last 15 years. He goes on to say, actually, no. The band does not have a completely atheist agenda when it comes to religion. I think that one of the most important things was if mankind could unite in the idea that there very well might be a force and things that we cannot explain, and we could completely accept that there's things that we don't know, and that might be larger than what we can articulate instead of what is happening now. You almost sound like an agnostic to me. So the atheist thing is completely thrown out the window, but it makes for good showmanship, and I completely understand that because Satanism, like demonology, occult kind of things, and especially those symbols and like the darkness, has been in heavy metal for a long time. We go back to Black Sabbath, we go back to Ronnie James Dio, excuse me. We go back to a lot of these older bands. It has always been there. We remember when Ozzy Osbourne just completely took the head off of a live bat in a live show. It's always been there. He decided to take it a step further and make it an entire production. Forge also said that much of religion today and for a few thousand years has been telling people telling you how things are and what's going to happen after you die. And to that notion, he says they're lying to you. That's the problem. They want you to do something. Now, here is where, all right. Obviously, this is going back more towards Christianity, where I'm going to have a few rebuttals. There are large portions of the Christian community that do not realize the difference between the teachings and what they feel led to do. That's totally okay. And it's also been besmirched in the spotlight for hundreds and hundreds of years. Christians have been mocked, ridiculed, killed, all for their beliefs and trying to bring the good news to other people. Now, when people say, especially when it talks about what happens after you die, that is a question that everyone should ask themselves, because although the Bible does state it, do we truly know if we are worthy of heaven? This gets into a theological debate that a lot of people can't really answer, but what they say is they list verses of the Bible and say, this is my faith, this is what I choose to believe, therefore it's true to me. Do we actually know the answer? We won't know until we die. But that's the whole point of our life on earth, is to find ourselves closer to God. Find ourselves, we're not going to get the answers because only he has the answers. And basically, all wisdom that we can proclaim for ourselves, that we have earned, that we have learned, that we have been enlightened with, is folly in the eyes of God. We don't know what we're doing. That's why we need to look up to him. This is only coming from a Christian perspective. And obviously, this conversation could go way much more further and in depth We're not going to do this right now. Just want to hear what he has to say, because a lot of people do think that Satanism is either atheistic or worshiping the devil as a deity. That's not what he's about at all. He's like, I don't know, there's something out there. Might as well, if we can all come to terms with that, maybe there can be a little bit more peace between the struggling sides, because even Christian sects within themselves struggle within their own ranks and struggle against other Christians. So I think basically what he's trying to get at is that he wants a more peaceful way where, like, hey, we can all be accepting of everything as long as we are not harming each other. But he does have an axe to grind against Christians saying they're lying. It's like, well, they're not necessarily lying. This is what they believe, and nobody can back it up on either side of the aisle. So I wouldn't really say like they're lying in that way, but the vocalist does counter, if we could agree that we do not know, but that there might very possibly be some divine otherworldly power. I think that's a great way to move forward for mankind to finally rejoice. And that's kind of basically what I just kind of put out there. I choose to have my own faith. I have my own faith. I choose to believe what I do believe, and I am steadfast in that. However, I will not push that onto anybody else, you including, or anyone else. If it works for the band, though, you can have your own personal beliefs. That's what I believe everyone should do. Everyone should have their personal beliefs. They shouldn't be told what to think, what to feel, where to put their faith in. Sometimes people put their faith in themselves. I personally think that that's a giant mistake, but that's neither here nor there. We know how he feels, and Ghost the band, they just give you an experience. It's like medieval times with satanic times, but you get like the whole musical experience. You get the whole show. It's basically meant to be, their live shows are basically meant to be an otherworldly church service where everyone just comes together from all walks of life. There's really not that much bad stuff that's going into it. It's more about community coming together. Now, yes, the symbology, if that's the word, the symbols, the iconography, the way that it is presented does rub people a lot of the wrong way, but it's all for aesthetic effect. Now, how he truly feels obviously is completely different. He's not trying to lead people to Satan, but a lot of people don't see that whenever it comes to this. And this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you here today. So just last month, Ghost kicked off the promotion of their new Skeleton album with the release of the single Satanize. But despite the eye-raising title and lyrics that seemingly discuss a possession, Tobias Forge recently shared with, I don't know what that is, Meltdown, that's actually a love song. It's a song about being in love and how that could potentially be mistaken as demonic possession, but in reality, this song has nothing to do with demonic possession. I could totally see where it's going for with this. And this is where a lot of people, they see what's on the outside. They don't realize the artistry that's, going on behind the scenes. Everyone can take things in a certain way, especially it's not reading between the lines. When you see the images, when you see their personas on stage, when you listen to not only the lyrics, the way that the lyrics are written out, really good prose, really good poetry has multiple meanings. And as long as it speaks to your heart, it will speak to your heart in the way that you choose to take it in, or the way that you see it during a certain time in your life. Now, the songwriter himself has said, it's like, no, it's not really about that. However, it's almost kind of like an analogy for being in love. And that's what he's actually going for. Whether you take it that way, hey, that's up to you. And this really is the kind of stuff that, like, I love talking about, because it makes you it tickles your brain a little bit. You can actually think about things from a different perspective rather than the knee-jerk reaction you see, like, well, I'm a Christian, bunch of Satanists talking about Satanism. It's like, that's actually not what they're doing. They're putting on a show using these kind of things. And this is why they have such a large audience, is because, yeah, maybe some people do agree with it. A lot of people that I know, the way that I was introduced to this band is actually by a Christian who's like, oh, have you ever been to a live show? It's not like that at all. It's completely different experience. Yes, they use these symbols. Yes, they do put on a show in this way, but it is in no way trying to worship Satan. But if you guys have seen of or heard this band, tell me what your experience is and how you feel about it down in the comment section below. It's okay. You could be atheist, agnostic, Christian. You could be a rock. I don't care. I love you just the same. And that seems like Tobias's message as well. Rather just have humanity get along. And if this is his way that he's making money and being artistic, you know what? I'm down for it. I'm not going to sit here and ask for him to be canceled. I'm not going to go out there with Westboro Baptist Church and picket. Oh, goodness gracious. Anyway, this is Multi from Alpha Multi. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you later.